Come, Coda. Hey, Coda boy. Whoa, whoa, boy, don't be jumping. You been having fun today with Daddy? All right. Well, you run along and play, and Daddy's going to do a 2018 Appalachian Trail update, okay? All right. Go figure out what that noise was. Hey y'all, Ramdino here, coming at you from North Carolina, where the temperatures have moderated and fall's in the air, and it's just starting to weather. This is my favorite time of the year, when the leaves are getting ready to start changing and the temperature is great and humidity's low. And I hope wherever you're at, you've got great temperatures and fall's getting ready to get in the air, and you're just, this is going to be a good time of the year for you as well. So, if you're new to the channel, we are about building the hiker community and particularly supporting the 2019 Appalachian Trail through hikers, and a little bit about my time on the Appalachian Trail, my hikes and the gear and stuff that I have. But mainly right now, we're working around the 2019 Appalachian Trail through hikers. So let's go ahead and get on with what's going on the trail now. So, looking at the registrations, we've had somewhere around 1,530 nobos that have checked into Harper's Ferry, and that will probably be it for the season, because everybody that's checked in by now should be checked in, or they're going to have to flip up, and there'll be a flip-flopper. So they just won't be able to get to Katahdin in time for the typical Baxter State Park when they'll be closing. Sobo, we have had 16 Sobo folks that have checked in there at Harper's Ferry. So that's up from last week. I only had one last week, so the bubble will be coming through there sooner or later, but we have had 16 check in there. The ATC up in Monson, they indicates that the summiters at Katahdin are down anywhere from 5 to 10% this year. However, the flip-flop registrations are up 20%. So that may be where that 5 to 10% has gone from. Folks are switching from Nobo to flip-flop, and I asked them why they felt that change in percentages, and they just said because they've been publicizing it more, trying to get people to realize that they can do the Appalachian Trail, and there are opportunities for them to do it with avoiding the crowds and maybe avoiding some bugs here and there, avoiding some bad weather. And so there's just been more flip-floppers this year than there has been in seasons past. And then also we've had some quite a bit of drop in the actual through hikers this year, and a lot of that's just because the economy's ripping and roaring, and a lot of folks have jobs, and some people that that normally, if they're unemployed, they may take that opportunity to get out there and do their through hike and hit that bucket list then while the economy recovers. But in this case, a lot of folks are working, and that's what one of the rangers down at Amicalola, that's why he said that the actual registrations and the actual through hiker population is down this year. And speaking of folks that are summited, we want to recognize those folks that we're aware of have summited. We know there's a lot more than this, but these are some of the folks that we're tracking. Papa John, he summited this past Sunday, and he was number 339. So he indicated he had had numerous injuries, and he felt lucky to summit, but we know there's more to it than that. Papa John, there's such a thing as gumption and stick-to-itiveness, and as they told me when I was in basic training in the Army, sometimes you just have to suck it up and drive on. And so we know that's what you did, Papa John, and luck didn't have anything to do with it. It's perseverance. So congratulations to you, Papa John. Cayenne, he summited. He was number 288 at Katahdin, and Harper's Ferry, he was number 234, and Springer Mountain, when he checked in to start his hike, he was number 266. So he was pretty consistent across the board. Most people, their numbers are a little more spread out than that. However, Cayenne was with his tramley. He summited with Soulshine, Terra High, Rooster, and Swiss Miss. And then his other portion of his tramley, they summited the next day, and that was Jukebox and Finish Line and Tennessee. And we don't have any information on any of them except Tennessee. And Tennessee is also known in the Matrix as Thomas Diggs. So here's a good picture before the summit of his family, and we appreciate that information, KM. Kentucky, he summited yesterday being 824. When he left Springer, he was registration number 2259. Harper's Ferry, he was 907, and at the time he summited, he was number 410. So that's fresh from yesterday. So that lets you know that we've had a little over 400 folks that have summited so far. Kentucky said his last zero was in Port Clinton, Pennsylvania. So that's a long time ago from Pennsylvania all the way up to Katahdin. without a zero. I'm sure he might have had a Nero or two in there, had to have some of those in order to resupply. But in any case, I appreciate that information, Kentucky. One of the problems I've had is that it's impossible to get any information out of Baxter State Park. There's only one number you can call, that's the headquarters. And when I've asked them about getting a contact information for the rangers there at the Abdul Stream Campground where everybody checks in for their summit registration number, they will only give me the email number. They refuse to give me the telephone number. And nobody there at the ranger station will answer my emails. And then when I leave a voicemail for the business department to try to get it, nobody returns my voicemail. So Baxter State Park is really not very forthcoming. If any through hiker, section hiker, day hiker, it doesn't matter, if y'all could get me the telephone number there at the Abdul Stream Campground Ranger Station, I would greatly appreciate that, so that I can make sure that I'm giving the most up-to-date information possible that's out there. So appreciate that, and congratulations to all those folks that summited. Obviously that is not all the folks that summited this past week. If you know of somebody, whether we're tracking them or not, please get that information to us along with their picture if you have it. And we will be sure to include them in next week's update. Don't want to leave anybody out on such a monumentous and milestone occasion. Weather report, the weather report, Rutland, Vermont, they're going to be in the high to mid 70s during the day, and at night they're going to be around the 50s. So start to get a little chilly up there in the nights, just a little brisk. Rain is likely up around the Rutland area on Wednesday, but the rest of the week's looking pretty good. Gorham, New Hampshire is going to be in the mid to low 70s with for the highs, and at nighttime you're going to be somewhere in the low high 40s to the low 50s. So get a little chillier up there as well, and your rain's likely to come in on Thursday. And then Monson, Maine, you're going to be in the 70s with night times in the 50s, and your rain again is likely to come in on Thursday. So other than Thursday, it looks like a great week for hiking. Good temperatures, humidity starting to moderate. So you guys enjoy that. Hike on up there and stay dry and stay cool. Where's the hiker bubble? Well, the hiker bubble is crossing over from New Hampshire into Maine now. So a lot of folks will be taking a zero before the 100-mile wilderness around Monson. A lot of folks get sucked into the Shaw Vertex up there, and once they leave there, then they're hitting the 100-mile wilderness, and we usually don't hear too much from them. So that's where the hiker bubble is right now, and it'll be moving on up far. The next couple of weeks, folks will be summiting, and they'll all be finishing at Katahdin. As we mentioned last week, the largest percentage of through hikers that get to Katahdin, they usually get there on the 2nd or 3rd week of September. So that time frame is coming up very, very quickly. Hikers on the trail who we have updates for, Underdog and Magic Mike, they plan on summiting August 26th or 27th, so that's in the next few days. Anchor, he's in North Wrangell, Maine, and should be passing the 2,000 mark if he hadn't already got to the 2,000 mark. Hawk, he is currently zeroing there in Monson at Shaw's, and he'll be getting back out on the trail shortly, but of course he is heading Sobo on his yo-yo hike. So we look forward to continuing to watch Hawk. Runa, she has less than 500 miles to go. Congratulations, Runa. Trigger is in Gorham, New Hampshire for a few zeros, and then he's back out to finish. X is north of Rutland, Vermont, and she made it out of town, made it away from the Yellow Deli, and she's on her way, and she's indicated she's noticed the leaves are starting to change just a little bit up in New England. So a lot of you folks that are going to be hiking up there when the leaves change, y'all are in for a real treat, because it's going to be gorgeous up there. Nav is in the 100-mile wilderness, and she plans to summit tomorrow. So by now, she may be, tomorrow being Monday, so by now she may very well be there at Abdul Stream Campground. Not sure what she's going to do about Arrow. Baxter does not allow dogs unless they're a service dog. I don't think Arrow is a service dog, and Maine has some particular rules and laws about service dogs to, stop there to be a fraudulent service dog. So maybe she can put Arrow in her pack and get up there. That would sure be nice to see them finish the trail together. But in any case, hopefully she'll be Monday or the next day. Amy and John, they are north of Mount Moosilauke. The Dower Duo, they're somewhere south of Monson, and they'll be there in a day or so, and they're looking to summit on September 2nd. Minnesota Hikings, they are north of Smarts Mountain. Champ's in Connecticut, and once he hits that Connecticut state line, he plans to flip-flop up to Katahdin and go ahead and summit, and then get back down and finish what he left off. Rock's in the Presidentials, and he has about 350 miles left on his flip-flop. And Wonder Woman, they are north of Whitecap Mountain. They have already seen Katahdin from that lookout there, and it won't be too much longer in the next couple days, and they will be summiting, we expect, this week as well. So if I left out your summit or left out your through hiker update, please get those to me, particularly your summit reports and summit pictures. When you do that, we want to make sure that we include everybody that we possibly can for folks out there that are viewing on the channel, as well as through hikers that keep up with what's going on with the rest of the through hiker community through this channel. Off the trail, Lolly and Pop, they are off the trail, but they're only off the trail because they went to a reunion of his flying squadron from his Air Force days. So they'll be back on the trail, we expect Monday or so, and this time they're probably going to be out there to stay. 10-4, she is off for the season. Her husband had a change of plans or change of schedule for his military obligations, and so she has had to get off the trail and go back home and be with him. So 10-4, we look forward to you, whatever portion, whenever you can, even if it's section hiking, we look forward to you finishing the trail. Bear reports are pretty much about the same as we've been giving out. All the shelters in the Smokies have bear reports, bear cautions out, and Cosby Knob is still closed. Don't know when they're going to open that up. Have not been able to get in touch, even though I've tried to with folks from the National Park Service, and they're not very forthcoming about when it's going to open up. It may be when the bears go back into hibernation. So, but Cosby Knob is closed, and that's a pretty important one because it is right smack dab in the middle of 2 7-milers on each side. So that means you're either going to have to hike the 14 plus the previous mileage before that shelter, or you're going to make a short day and then hike the 14. So that could be as much as 20 or more in the Smokies that you may have to hike that one day, and that's kind of tough to do in the Smokies. Hopefully by the time you get sub-0 and you get there, you'll have your trail legs, and that won't be a problem, but that's pretty tough for me coming right off the couch and for us section hikers out here. But we've also got some bear reports up in Vermont due to some incidents up there at the Goddard Shelter, which is at mile 1622. Kidgore, Story Spring, and Stratton Pond shelters have bear cautions out for them. And in Massachusetts at the Sermon Brook Primitive Camping, mile 1596, and these are all NOBO miles, by the way. They've had some bear cautions out there and said it's very important not to cook or eat in the shelters, and that pretty much goes for all of these shelters that are like that. Of course, we still got the bear cautions in the Mount Rogers, Grayson, Highlands areas. So bears are active, of course, right this time of year, but it won't be too much longer where they're going to be going back into hibernation. Over the next few weeks, as I said before, most of the NOBOs that we are tracking, and most of the NOBOs in general, will be going ahead and summiting. Of course, we know where the hiker bubble is. The hiker bubble is right there at the New Hampshire, Maine border, and so it's going to be moving in just the next few weeks on up, and those folks are summiting, and then we'll be tracking the subos only once all the NOBOs get gone. So we'd like to make sure that we've got as many subos as are out there, or as we can get on the channel as possible. So if you're a subo, or you know of a subo that we're not tracking, then please go to my Facebook page at Ramdino Roaming the Trail, send me an instant message, and that's the best way to get information to me. We want to make sure that we include them in their social media accounts so folks can go ahead and support them all the way on their trip down to Springer as they finish up their trip or get to the halfway point. Folks, that is about all I've got this week. Appreciate you staying here to the end. As always, appreciate you, and we'll see you out there.